Welcome back. Today we are going to be delving into the video by the BBC on things not to say to fat people, or things not to say to those of the more portly persuasion, or things not to say to those that are morbidly obese and possibly in denial about said obesity.
You're not fat.
I know, when people say that, they're quite clearly lying to me.
I am fat, I am obese, and my BMI is quite high.
You are also committing a fashion faux pas. For someone of your size, the stripe should be non-existent, and you should also consider redoing your eyebrows so it doesn't look like you're both angry and pushing out a poop angrily.
And if you can't see that, you need a stronger pair of spectacles.
Goes back to the fact that people are uncomfortable with
the F word, the dreaded F word.
The word fat isn't insulting to me, so don't try and come in and swoosh in like a knight in shining armour going, you're not fat, you're gorgeous, you're fine.
I of course am going to point out that simply telling someone they're not fat when they clearly are is not something you shouldn't say to someone who is fat. I also want to point out that it seems the BBC for this particular video have found people who are more blunt and obvious and upfront with their responses, instead of finding a more diverse pool of obese people, large people, fat people, whatever you want to call these particular people that are answering the questions. I just don't care. But I think for a decent response, you'd want to find people who do actually find it offensive, because then you're being more honest with what you're portraying. Oh, come on. We all know this can apply to many other demographics, not just the earlier mentioned portly people.
You'll never get a partner if you look like that.
My mum thought that if any date I went on, the guy had to have a fetish about fat girls.
Oh God.
He's good looking. What did you do? Are you a
did
really
you-
good cook? Is he weird? Has he got a fetish? Does he like fat people?
got a fetish?
Does he jiggle you?
Is it me, or do the people in this particular response not look that fat at all? And it's also fairly obvious that some responses were not added. For example, the one with the angry eyebrows and the stripy dress going up. Yeah, I wonder what she said. Again, this is something I wouldn't just apply to those of the portly persuasion. I'd also consider this for freegans, or anyone who looks at a loaf of bread and sees mould on it, picks the mould off, and then proceeds to use the bread.
You can see people, like when you're grocery shopping, looking into your basket. The shopkeeper would just be like, oh.
Well, you're in luck, milady. You see, we have this brand new invention to protect you from that kind of scrutiny. It's called online shopping. I'm going to jump the gun and say there are some things people of certain sizes shouldn't wear. For example, if you're an extremely large male or female, do not wear leggings or jeggings. That stuff just looks like you're packing stuff into sausage skins. Or skinny jeans. Never wear skinny jeans if you're a bigger person.
Should you be wearing that?
I hear this all the time.
Do you?
Yes, but it's nothing to do with being fat.
Then it's not relevant to this video, sir. I am, however, intrigued as to whether or not the woman next to you gets told she shouldn't wear certain things because of her size. Like, for example, a stripy dress where the stripes are vertical.
Why is there this preconception that there's things that because you're a certain size you shouldn't be able to wear?
Because of the Fat Girl Rule book. Horizontal stripes shouldn't wear that.
Or vertical. There are limits to how much vertical stripes can hide.
We shouldn't wear anything that shows your arms. Shouldn't wear anything fitted. I just love that so many women are coming together to actually show their middle finger and say, kiss my middle finger. I don't care. I'm not going to stick to the rules that you have set out for me, and I'm going to wear whatever the hell I want to.
Good for you. I would like to now point out to you, though, the people that you're referring to that are setting these societal standards are the majority of society that want to live longer, healthier lives. You are free to choose and wear whatever you want, but we are all under a lens from someone, some kind of scrutiny from someone, and we all have to accept it.
People expect that you should be dressing to a certain code, so you hide yourself and disguise yourself in the background. Don't make a show of yourself, fatty, because you need to know your place.
With regards to those that think we should dress to a certain code, I think it is entirely circumstance-based. In your head, think of a scenario where this comes up, and think of the response you would typically get from someone who hears it. It's going to be an angry or upset one.
Have you tried exercise?
Not recently.
For me, the responses we're getting, I don't believe they're the ones the BBC want. I think the BBC want people to say, you shouldn't be saying this to me because I'm trying, or I have a thyroid problem, I have a condition, and so on. I think the BBC wants that kind of response rather than the more nonchalant response you just had, or the responses we're going to get as we go further into this video.
For me, it makes me feel good mentally. Like, if I've had a bad week or a bad day, I'll go to the gym or I'll go and swim to swim it out, clear my head, and I feel great. Not because I want to be a certain size or look a certain way or want a certain number on the scales. I just do it because I enjoy it.
It's actually quite interesting that you mention why you exercise, and a particular exercise you do, as I have seen many arguments made for how you can be a bigger person and still be healthy. Now, of course, that can be refuted by a number of people. I'm not going to go into it, but it is interesting, and those discussions are fascinating. Certainly to see who breaks first, the expert or the person who says you can be fat and healthy.
So if someone says, have you tried exercise, like it's some sort of remedy to my fatness, then no, I haven't tried exercise to shed myself of my blobby body.
With those that I know that have been larger, there are two different solutions that have worked. One person I know changed their diet, and they are in absolutely fantastic shape. You could say they are beach body ready. The other person took the easy route. They simply had a gastric band put around their stomach, and then had on the NHS the excess skin removed for free, which I think they're having another one done soon. Grim. If no one responds to this with clearly not as their answer, I'm going to be very disappointed.
They're trying to be nice, but this just comes across as very passive-aggressive. I know, but I really care. Are you worried about your health? No, you're just being a dickhead.
It really annoys me when people obviously assume that you're going to be really unhealthy by physically looking at you. Like, for example, me, I've been a strict vegetarian since birth. I don't smoke. I've never drank in my life. How much more healthy of a lifestyle could I lead?
There are so many junk foods that are suitable for vegetarians. So you simply saying you are a vegetarian does not mean you are healthy. It just means you've ditched a food group.
I guess I am worried about my health. You know, the whole diabetes, being able to move in the future.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it. I'm not going to. Oh dear, no. Must leave all fat jokes out of this. All jokes related to forklifts and you saying future but actually meaning the moment you leave the studio, all of it. No, I'm better than this.
Yeah. But isn't everyone worried about their health?
As you are statistically more likely to receive certain debilitating conditions because of your size, people who are of the more slimmer variety are less concerned with contracting those debilitating conditions.
I think when we start going down that route of asking bigger people, we have to then start going down the route of walking through pubs and everybody having a pint. Do you worry about your health? Or everybody smoking on the street, do you worry about your health?
There is an obvious difference. The government goes out of its way to legislate to make it so that people who do smoke are fully aware of what can happen to them. Have you seen some of the disgusting pictures we put on cigarette packets these days? The same applies to drinking. There are plenty of adverts that have happened over the years indicating the dangers of drinking and alcohol abuse. But for some odd reason, while we're busy talking about childhood obesity on the rise, there seems to be a complete lack of discussion when it comes to adults. Like there is some invisible line, like the moment you touch adulthood, you can be fat and not be shamed for it anymore. Not that it should be considered shaming to tell you that your size is wrong. It is something to be ashamed of because it is very unhealthy and it is very costly because it is a very expensive lifestyle to rely on so much food. And of course, if you do eventually have surgery for certain conditions or because you decide to lose weight, it is a very costly endeavour. I don't see how this is something you shouldn't say to someone who's fat. Beauty is, after all, subjective, and chances are the people saying it think you would be better looking if you weren't so large.
Imagine how good looking you'd be if you lost a bit of weight.
I don't think the world is ready for that.
Then it's like, imagine how much of a nice person you'd be if you weren't such a massive prick.
Beauty is what's within.
Very true. And if someone is unable to accept the mistakes you make that you wear on the outside, then that is up to them. It is their loss. Thank you all for listening.